Does everyone know what time it is? Toilets to Titles is proud to present Title Time. And here's your hosts, Rich, George, and Jason.
And good morning. Happy week 11 to you. I'm your host, Jason. This is Title Time. And with me, as always, the guy who covered for us last week while George and I went to a game, Frito Bandito himself. Rich, how you doing on a week 11 Sunday?
I'm good, man. Still recovering. I know you probably hear my voice, but this cough is no joke, man. It's like I'm constantly sticking cough drops in my mouth and everything. So I know Jason's probably going through the same thing right now. So another week. Let's get at it. We're week 11 now.
It's week 11. Yeah, absolutely.
Some people are actually jumping into playoffs already too. So hopefully we could help some people out and get them going.
Yeah, as Rich alluded to, all three of the core members of Title Time under the weather. Two of us are playing through injury. But if you hear a cough drop in my mouth, I apologize. If you have an ASMR thing, you're welcome. But I am going to have a cough drop. Rich's got cough drops. But the third member today, it's not George because he couldn't play through injury. So we've got a great substitution at Pete_1978 on Twitter, but it's Pete. How you doing this morning, Pete? Welcome to Title Time.
Hey, I'm doing great. Excited to get this week going. Got a lot of players coming back from injury, so yeah.
Yeah, it's a great week. Thursday night we had Joe Burrow go out for the season. Mark Andrews go out. Rough for a couple of you guys. Unfortunately, you played them this week, so there's not a lot we can do to help you this week, but we can help you going forward, right? So that's what we're here for. Pete, I don't know if you watch every Sunday, but the first thing I always ask, and I'm going to start with you, what is the game? And you can't pick the Bears because that's your team. What is the game you're looking forward to most this week? There's only one great game on the slate, and I think that's the one we're all going to say. But which one do you want to see the most this week? That's not the Bears.
49ers, Buccaneers.
There you go.
I want to see if the 49ers are for real. I want to see if they're going to keep this little run going. The Buccaneers defense isn't great, but it's good. It's good enough. So it's going to be an exciting match.
So I'm a Bucs fan. I can't say the Buccaneers. What I can say about this matchup is that the 49ers are probably going to beat us senseless. They're way more physical than we are. I am interested because last week, Todd Bowles, the Buccaneers had been playing their defense to hide the deficiencies on the team. They've been playing soft man zone. And last week, they decided not to do that. They played a lot of man press and just said deficiencies be damned. They sent linebackers on blitzes a lot more this last week than they had been all year, trying to hide bad coverage. And it seemed to work last week against a pretty bad Titans team. I don't think that's going to work against the 49ers with Ayuk and Debo and McCaffrey. So I'd love to say that the Buccaneers have a shot in this game, but as an honest Buccaneers fan, I don't think so. Rich, what game are you looking forward to on this fine Sunday or even going into Monday?
I'm not going to say the one that everybody's expecting me to say because I'm sure maybe Jason might say it, but I'm going to avoid it. I'm going to say the Texans-Cardinals game. It might not be an interesting as far as to some people and everything, but look, fantasy-wise and people that really follow football, it's great. It's great to see where this rookie C.J. Stroud, what he's doing and everything coming into the league. You know, he was the number 2 quarterback drafted, and there was a lot of talk before the season about this test that he didn't do so well in and stuff like that. And you know what? CJ Stroud was said, you know what? Kiss that test, throw it in the garbage. I don't need no stinking test. I could take care of what I need to take care of as an NFL quarterback. And as a rookie quarterback, is doing very outstanding and stuff like that. Now, on the other end, we got the Cardinals. You got Murray that came back last week. And, you know, a lot of people were scared to start him, didn't know what to expect. But what did Kyler Murray do? He came in and did Kyler Murray, you know. I mean, looked good for his first game back and everything, and kind of put this Cardinals organization kind of like, I don't want to say in a whirlwind, because there was talks that maybe they don't keep him and stuff like that. And, you know, they kind of tank for the season and they go after another QB, but not so much the case with the Cardinals now. So I really, this game right here is an interesting one for me.
I like that game, especially for fantasy. You know, that's kind of what we talk about. So, like, the best game of the week to me, obviously, is the Eagles against Kansas City. It's not the game I'm looking most forward to. From like a fantasy perspective, honestly, I'm pretty damn interested in the Lions-Bears game, mostly because Justin Fields is now back, and you know, the Bears are on quarterback watch, right? Is it going to be Fields next year? Or is it going to be Caleb Williams or whoever they end up drafting, depending on where the spot ends up being? So I'm interested to see how Fields does the second half of this, because it's not just is he going to be with the Bears, but is he going to be good enough to get the Bears some draft capital if they decide to move forward with a different QB? Luckily for me, I've got a certified Bears fan just below me here who can tell me whether he thinks they should keep Fields and build around him. And in that case, you have 2 first-round draft picks that look like they're going to be very high, which you could get a lot for. You know, you go get yourself something like what the Rams got a couple years ago when the Commanders or then the Redskins drafted RG3. You could set your team up for a long time. Or you could grab a quarterback and then have a great quarterback who's going to get buried behind that offensive line. So, Pete, what do you think they're going to do? Do you think they're sticking with Fields, or do you think with the high draft capital they have, they're going to go after one of the quarterbacks in this draft?
Well, I think after this game, and I think this game alone, they're going to have to make a decision. I'm leaning they're going to move on. We got to all remember that's not Ryan Poles' guy. He didn't draft him. And if the coaching staff changes, I mean, you got to let Fields go, because, I mean, how many more offensive coordinators does he need? So I'm not, but on that too, I'm not sold on Caleb Williams. I think he's the same type of style player. He's going to do really well in the NFL, but I think the Bears are going to go a different route. And if they do go draft a quarterback, it's going to be probably Drake May. And they're going to use that other pick, and they're going to either draft a defensive end or trade that pick out, because they desperately need a center. Now the offensive line is healthy. He got Khalil Herbert back this week as well. So they got a pretty hard game too against the Lions. The Lions defensive line is top 5. So it's going to be really interesting to see this game. But just to answer your question, I don't think they're ready to move on just yet.
Sorry, I had to unmute myself because I had a cough and fit. Okay, so not ready to move on. You don't think they'd take Caleb Williams. I think it would be an upset in the draft if any other quarterback besides Caleb Williams goes first. You know, we can talk about how he's reacted with losses and how many losses he's had this season, you know, seemingly unable to pull a bad USC team over the finish line in some of these games. I don't know how much of that quarterback and how much is coaching. I don't watch a lot of my comment is always, I don't watch a lot of college football. If they're good enough, I'll catch them on Sundays. So I'm not qualified to say whether it's USC or the quarterback or the, you know, whatever. But, you know, you like to see these quarterbacks come out and win a decent amount in college, because they're going to, you know, if they can't pull their college team over the finish line, can they do it with NFL teams, I guess. But, you know, coming into the season, everybody thought he was a special talent. I don't know that talent just disappears. So let's get to some of these comments. We got Coach before we started saying yes and let's go from Dustin. Good morning, guys. We've got Nate saying what's up. Have a stellar Sunday. You too, Nate. The boys are back in town. Well, at least one of the boys. The other thing I'll mention about George, who's sick, it's also tomorrow's his birthday. So we wish George a happy, we'll just call it a 50th birthday because it'll mess with him just for fun. Eli says, hello, that's my son. Making the smiley faces. Eli, you weren't first this week. I'm pretty disappointed, bud. Just picking on you. Will T2T says, let's go. And then, of course, we love having Pete on the air. Thank you for joining us, Pete. We appreciate it.
No problem.
Look at my man, Pete. Eli saying, me too, Frito. So I think that's him saying that he's had the cough for a while. Whole house has been sick. So, of course, when your kids are sick, you're sick. Dustin, it's 10:33. It's money time. Yeah, absolutely. Go get it. Will, Cowboys. I guess that's the game he's looking forward to, but they're playing the Panthers, man. Like, nobody wants to watch that. Even Cowboys fans, you got to watch something better than that. I get it. You got to watch your team, support your team, but come on. I will say you lost to the Cardinals earlier this year. If you lose to the Panthers. And then if George was here, he would freak out. I'm not sure what that comment is about. And then, morning, fellas. Here's our first question. Suffering from bye weeks. Do I start JSN, Josh Reynolds, or Robert Woods? Rich, I'm going to start this one off with you.
Yeah, this is a Total's Titles special question right here. These are the hard questions that it's that time of the year. Man, JSN, Josh Reynolds, or Robert Woods. It's a tough one, man. Trying to pull up, matchups. You got Seattle playing. What do we got here?
So they're playing the Rams. The Texans are playing Arizona, and Reynolds is playing the Bears. So I like Woods and Reynolds matchups better than I like Jackson Smith and Jigba. Over under is higher for both those games for Houston and Detroit. Really, I think just looking at it over, Seattle has the lowest implied point total. The Detroit has the highest. The issue I have here is I think Jackson Smith and Jigba's getting hot at the right time. I'll go ahead and start, Rich, since you were looking up the matchups. For me, I think Jackson Smith and Jigba's getting hot at the right time. The rookie is kind of catching a little bit of fire towards the end of the season. You know, he looked a little bit lost like rookies do at the beginning of the season, wasn't all that involved. Getting more and more involved as the time goes. So even though the other the other two games seem to be higher scoring, and the other two teams look to be scoring more, I think there's so many weapons on Detroit that I think saying Reynolds, it's going to be tough because they like to run the ball with Montgomery. They like to run the ball with Gibbs. It's also a David Montgomery revenge game. So, you know, I have a tough time saying Reynolds is going to be the one that scores there. And then Robert Woods, you know, Tank Dell's been great. Robert Woods kind of been an afterthought in that wide receiver room lately. He's been injured. Who knows how he's going to be coming back off injury. I know he played a little bit last week. For me, this is Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Yeah, look, after everything, you know, I'm going down in your conversation and everything. I just don't trust Robert Woods no more with Tank Dell. I know Nico Collins coming back, but you also have Dalton Schultz and everything. Although he's on the field a majority of the time, it's just he's not getting the looks that you want. You hit it on the nail with Reynolds. Look, options are coming alive for Jared Goff with Gibbs, Montgomery, Amon, Laporta, where Josh Reynolds really hasn't been a part of this offense. You know, even with Jameis Williams coming back, Williams ain't taking a lot of options from him, but he's still not getting it done. Out of the three, I have to go JSN. You kind of he's a rookie, he's coming on and everything. I still like Metcalf and Lockett better in this game, but JSN has the potential to just outscore these other two. So I'm going to go JSN with this being a real tough question.
And Pete.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll JSN as well. Like I said, Robert Woods is pretty non-existent in that offense. Josh Reynolds, I mean, unless the wide receiver gets hurt, he's not going to play. I know the Bears secondary is terrible, but JSN is definitely the guy to go with for sure.
So I am gonna, I'm a week out of practice, being off last week, a little bit off my game, being sick. But Coach brings up a good point. Where can the listeners find a mock draft? Hey, you can find that on our YouTube channel, Toilets Titles. Coach, I know, does the mock drafts. And we're not talking fantasy football mock drafts. We're talking about college football into the NFL mock drafts throughout the offseason. Just did one here recently. You can find all of those videos and all of our videos on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/toiletstitles. You can also go to toiletstitles.com where you can find things like Rich and mine's top 10 every week. We do a fantasy football top 10 every week. We have articles on there. All of our videos are linked there. Anything you want for college and NFL, we've got you covered. But also, you do want to get into our Gilded chat, and you can hit any one of us up, and we will get you into our Gilded chat, or you can email toiletstitles@gmail.com. And Gilded is basically like a Discord. Most of you guys know what a Discord is. It's a group of people, roughly right now, like over 250 people, talking about football all the time. We have different sections for different things. So we talk during the games. We have a game chat. We have start sit like this that you can ask us anytime. We have IDP talk. We have DFS and straight up betting talk. Like, we have it all in there, and you can reach us anytime. We're the group that is the most open and interactive with you. Like, we're in there all the time, constantly. I don't think Coach sleeps, to be honest. He's in there so much. If he sleeps with Gilded in his hands, and he sleep types. I guarantee it, because he's on there all the time. So if you want to join us there, reach out again at toiletstitles@gmail.com or hit any of us up on Twitter, and you can join our Gilded chat where we'll talk all the time about football. It's great. And honestly, we talk about whatever too. Like, there's a lobby where you can talk about whatever you want. There's a group of us talking about Disney all the time too, because I'm a Disney head. So, and then with that, we also have a Patreon, patreon.com/toiletstitles. The thing I'd like to say is we have a tier for every salary. We start at $1.50 and work your way up with all kinds of benefits. We do like a waiver wire. We do a waiver wire document Tuesday night. That way you get it first before Monday night. Sorry. That way you get it before everybody else, because pretty much everybody else puts it out on Tuesday. We get it out Monday night for you. We have this cool flip book on injuries that we started last week. It's a very cool thing if you haven't seen it, but it's just kind of a quick breakdown, digital flip book of like all the injuries, who's going to be playing, who's not going to be playing. Very cool that Toilet Titles putting that together. So check that out. But that you can only get that if you're a Patreon. So again, patreon.com/toiletstitles. All right. We are going to go ahead and get to our next question. It's Chris's videos. Pete, I went with Rich first, so I'm going to start with you on this one. Ty Chandler or Raheem Mostert?
Gotta go with Ty Chandler on this. Raheem Mostert's not going to get as many touches with A-Chain coming back. They're playing the Raiders. Raiders are playing with a big heart, but I don't know. Dolphins got a pretty good running back tandem with A-Chain and Mostert, but again, A-Chain coming back, they're going to feed him the ball. So that's where I would go with that one.
Rich, you agree?
Yeah, look, Ty Chandler Madison is probably going to get some opportunity in this game. I know he's coming concussion protocol and everything, but he will be part of the game. I think Tyler Chandler is going to probably have a bulk of the carries, but Madison will still be part of the game plan. Mostert, Look, yeah, I get he's coming. A-Chain's coming back to play. Um, yeah, he's still going to get his opportunities and everything. And I'll be honest with you, if I'm going to pick out of these two and stuff like that, I like Mostert just a slight edge over Ty Chandler and stuff like that, just because of the offense that they're in and who they're playing against. The Raiders are not the best against the run game and everything. So even though A-Chain is coming back, Mostert and A-Chain will both have opportunity in this game, and I like Mostert just to slightly outproduce Ty Chandler. So,
Yeah, I think Miami's backfield is crowded, but I still lean that way against the Raiders. It's funny because, to start the season, and especially because of the game against the Dolphins, Denver was the defense to play against. They've allowed 15 points, I think, or less in the last 4 or so games. I have to go look it back up, but it's a pretty big turnaround for that Denver defense. So I'm going to lean Mostert here as well. Yeah, A-Chan's coming back. I do expect him to take some of the work, maybe not a lot. And, for the way Chan, however he wants to pronounce it now, however, the way A-Chan plays, he can break off a big one with just a couple of carries, and then that could take away opportunity for Mostert. If you score on a drive, there's no more opportunity that drive for anybody else, right? So I think he could take some away, but I think Mostert's still going to get his, even when A-Chan was on the field, Mostert was still a startable back. So I do lean Mostert there again, because and the over-under on that game and the implied point total for Miami is higher than it is for the Vikings. So, all right, let's see Chris's videos. I'm going to start with Rich here because it's a little bit after his own heart. Jacoby Myers or DJ. I'm assuming DJ Moore, and we're going to assume PPR
or Rondale Moore and stuff.
Let's say DJ Moore, because if it's Rondell, I think we'll all say Jacoby. But let's say it's DJ Moore, because that seems plausible, I think.
Yeah, I got you. So as much as I love Jacoby's potential in this game, look, they're going to be throwing a lot. I know it's the rookie Aiden Connell. DJ Moore with Justin Fields back has a really potential to have a really big blowout game like he did 4 or 5 weeks ago, whenever that game was and everything. So if it's DJ Moore, he's taking the slight edge for me. Although I do like Jacoby in this matchup with the Miami Dolphins, they can be scored on and everything. So it's real close, but I'm going to lean DJ Moore.
Pete, do you agree?
I'm going to go opposite. I'm going to go Jacoby because they're feeding him the ball. They're getting him the ball no matter what. I know the Lions secondary is bad, but Moore, and we just don't know what Fields is going to do. Everybody wants to kind of lean. Well, Fields had these 2 great games, but I remember when he came out against Minnesota, he looked completely lost, like he didn't want to be out there. And I don't know which Justin Fields is going to come out to play today. I just don't. I can't put DJ Moore over Jacoby because, again, they're feeding Jacoby the ball. They're forcing it into his hands, and he has great hands, and he catches the ball, and he can score. That's what I would do.
So I think, and I'm pretty, if you've watched this show, I've been pretty I wouldn't say anti, just like obviously non-DJ Moore guy. But I think I'm going to go DJ Moore here. With Aiden O'Connell throwing the ball to Jacoby Myers, I worry a little bit. I worry that they are going to try and force feed Devontae Adams instead. Squeaky wheel. Jacoby doesn't seem like the kind of guy in the locker room saying, give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball. He doesn't seem like that type. Yeah. And maybe that's just me thinking about him from the Bill Belichick days where you wouldn't dare say that, right? But, Devontae Adams is the squeaky wheel there. I worry that with O'Connell not being able to hit multiple targets and not be able to scan the field, he's going to lock in on a primary, and primary there's Devontae Adams. DJ Moore didn't have a ton of great games with Justin Fields either, but he had his best games with Fields. And the one thing I do know about Fields is he is going to target more. Now, whether or not they're great targets or not, that's yet to be seen. But of the two, if you give me an option of Justin Fields or O'Connell, I'm taking Justin Fields to DJ Moore. And for everybody who watches every Sunday, that is not something I've said a lot as far as DJ Moore goes. So, Dustin Hetritz. Now this one's interesting. Achane, Charbonnet, or Chandler. I'm gonna start. I think this one falls under the, like, if you're projected to win, I probably play Chandler. And if you're projected to lose, I play Achane. And that seems like hedging a little bit, but if you're trying to chase points, Achane has the highest upside. You know, he's averaging like 30, and it's not sustainable, but he's averaging like 30 points every time he plays. Fantasy points, right? So that's crazy, and it's not going to be something that can continue. But I think he has the highest upside. So if you're chasing points, if you're slated to lose, if a lot of players of yours are on bye, and you need big points from somebody, to me that's Achane. Charbonnet's out snapping Walker in Seattle, but he's not outscoring him. You know, he hasn't hit double-digit fantasy points. His highest output, I think, is like 7 PPR points, and that was last week. Like, I don't see him with a big ceiling, and he has a pretty low floor. I think Chandler could be good. I think he's a good play, but the great play for points is Achane. So that's the way I would lean. Pete, you agree or disagree? Got some other logic to throw out there?
No, actually, I don't. This goes back to the kind of the earlier question with Chandler and Mostert. And, well, Chandler, I mean, unless Madison gets re-injured or that concussion comes back, I don't know. I guess you would go Chandler on that one, on that way, now that I think about it, because, I mean, we really haven't seen players this season come back from a concussion just 1 week. They've usually been holding them out for at least 2 weeks. There's only been a couple players to come back. So he can get, you know, one good hit, and Madison can have a concussion again, and Ty Chandler, but really don't want to depend your fantasy on an injury right there at that point. So out of those three, I would go Chandler. Yeah, I would. Kind of contradicting myself, but yeah.
No, look, it's a valid point why you would want to go Chandler and everything. Look, he is going to have the bulk of the workload and everything, so it's not a bad choice and everything. But Achane, if he touches the ball 2 times and he takes the house both times, both those times is going to outproduce both of these guys. And that's if he just 2 opportunities. Look, he's probably going to be limited in the workload and stuff like that. But look, I'm not trying to bag on my own team and everything, but the Raiders are just not good against the run. And Achane is going to have the opportunity. Look, we picked him up at the beginning of the year when he had those huge games, and he's a must start. He's a must start every week and everything because of his potential of his ceiling there. His ceiling's just out the roof and everything. And look, if he's playing, there ain't going to be that too many people unless I drafted him in the top 2-3 rounds ahead it when someone's going to be picking up Achane off the free agency. He's one of those people that can take it to the house anytime he touches it, and I'd rather have that opportunity, especially in this offense. There's so much that they got to cover and stuff like that. Is the Raiders got to handle and everything that you have to go Achane in this choice. Look, Charbonnet. Look, he is just Jason's hit it on the nail. He's getting the touches and stuff like that. But every time I turn on or the red zone goes to Seattle scoring, what's the running back that's scoring? It's Walker with what he does and everything. So in this case right here, I'm leaning Achane.
All right. Chris's video says James Cook or Brian Robinson. I'll start with this one. And I am sick, and this answer kind of makes me sick, but unfortunately for me, it's Brian Robinson. You know, they're playing the hapless Giants, the team that allows a ton on the ground, bad defense. Robinson's been getting it done. I haven't seen any updates, but, you know, Antonio Gibson's been battling an injury. I'm not 100% sure whether he's playing or not, but if he's not, that's just even more snaps for Robinson, who's been surprising this season for a late round running back. James Cook, on the other hand, got benched for his first ever NFL fumble for part of that game, and then fumbled again, and luckily he basketball dribbled it to himself, or he might be off the team with the way that coaching staff works. It's so crazy because he got benched. That offense couldn't move the ball. They put him back on the field, and they went down and scored a touchdown. And it just like, it's an awful way to handle a team, but that coaching staff seems to be doing it anyway. So for me, it's going to be Brian Robinson, even though it's odd to say that, especially, I mean, the fact of the matter is we're week 11 now. So what we thought when we started the season, I mean, we thought Dameon Pierce was going to be good, right? That hasn't happened. There's a lot of stuff we thought. So at week 11, we got to get rid of what we thought at the start of the season and just start playing our best players. To me, that's Brian Robinson. I saw a couple of head nods there. So I agree. I assume you guys are agreeing with me, but Pete, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. The Bills are playing the Jets. The Jets play well. Brian Robinson is a pretty good back. They're playing the Giants. The Giants team looks like they just given up already. They've thrown in the towel. They have so many issues going on over there. Brian Robinson's just going to run all over them. And the Bills, we don't know what they are. They're playing well, then they're not playing well. Too inconsistent. Their quarterback has an injury to his elbow. So I don't know if that's going to play a part on what they're going to do. Their game plan is. But Brian Robinson is definitely where you're going to go with that.
Yeah, look, it's unanimous. It's Brian Robinson. Look, Gibson is doubtful. So even if it was questionable and stuff like that, he's having an issue, a toe injury with his toe. So they're going to lean heavily on Robinson. He's involved in the passing game. He had that one big catch last week that really padded his stats and stuff like that. He did overall, but he had a great reception out of the backfield, down the field and everything. So Brian Robinson is going to be one that's going to carry you today over James Cook.
All right. Sorry, I got caught scrolling down to see how many questions we had, so I got to get back up to the top. So my son says T. I think that's a nose and then T. So thank you, Eli, for the emoji. Jaylen Warren against Cleveland or Saquon against the Commanders? I think you want to start it. Go ahead, Rich.
Yeah. Look, Saquon is questionable in this game. He's gonna be their offense, so I'm a little bit worried about with him being questionable on what to expect from him. Normally in a situation like this with the QB situation, the defense is going to focus on their stud running back and stuff. But on the same token, this defense is got picked apart since the trade deadline and everything. So maybe not as stout as you would think they would be. Jaylen Warren has been looking good in every opportunity that he's had, but they are going against the Cleveland defense. Arguably top defense in the league with the Cowboys and the 49ers and everything. So if I'm going to lean these two, I'm going to lean the one I drafted higher over the other one. If Saquon is playing, I am starting Saquon over Jaylen Warren.
Pete?
Yeah, so I'm going to go with Saquon on this one. He is their whole offense. Warren is he plays well when he gets the ball, but Harris is taking his carries, and Harris is playing a lot better than Warren. And that's affected me in my fantasy. In one of my fantasy leagues, I have Warren, and it's just his numbers have been going kind of backwards. And last week, Harris he had a really good game, and they stuck to him. So the Cleveland defense, they are good. The line. So I don't see Warren having a great game. But again, the Giants they're playing Washington, so they pretty much traded away their whole defensive line. So Saquon should have a pretty good game in this one.
Yeah, that's the thing. If Saquon's playing, he's getting 30 plus opportunities a game, whether it's on the ground or through the air. You can't, that's only getting you 10, 11, 12 points, right? But that's, I think, probably more than what you're used to getting with Warren. Last week, Warren had the 100 yards, which was great, but it's not something you expect every week out of him. And if he does start doing that every week, then maybe it changes. But 30 plus opportunities for Saquon against the Commanders front line that, again, just gave up a couple of great players. I think you take that all day, every day. So for me, it's Saquon. Chris's video's got a pick 3 here. Cup, Debo, Dell, Ridley, and Addison in a full PPR. I believe Matthew Stafford's coming back this week, right, guys? So for me, it's going to be the first 3 there. It's Cup, Debo, and Dell. Debo's got a plus matchup against the Buccaneers secondary, who actually came out and talked some smack. Their safety, who's been playing horrible, Neil, came out and talked crap about Ayuk and Debo for no reason. Dude, if you're not playing well, shut your mouth, because you didn't play well against the Texans, and this is the 49ers coming to town, so quiet down and don't write checks your play can't cash, because you've been playing terrible. So for me, you can't sit Cup with Stafford back. You can't sit Debo against a bad defense, and Tank Dell's been on fire. Really hasn't played well, and Addison, I don't know if I trust him week in and week out with backup quarterback. I don't trust anybody on that team other than Hawkinson. So for me, it's those first 3. But Rich, do you agree or disagree?
Yeah, 100% agree. Look, I'm not starting Ridley anywhere I have him and everything. He's just too inconsistent. I'm not going to take the chance when I have these, especially Chris, when you have these other availabilities, options that you have and everything. Ridley is probably the last one I'd rank out of your receivers. Addison, although he's doing well and everything, look, Dell, Debo, and Cup just have better options right now, better chances. Addison is going to look. Jefferson's out for another week, so Addison and Hawkinson is going to be the 2 getting a lot of the attention and everything. So I think it's a really easy choice for me on these first 3.
Pete,
yeah,
you got any?
I agree. You got to go with Cup, Debo, and Dell. Dell just keeps getting better and better every week. Debo, he's almost in on every play on that offense, so you never know what they're going to do with him. He's going to get a lot of touches. And Cup, that's Stafford's guy. It's since Stafford's got there, that's been his guy, even though they got Puka Nacua. But Cup is still the guy with the good hands down there.
All right. Michael Garcia says, good morning, guys. Good morning, Michael. I said, yeah, Garcia. Okay, cool. And then my son says, aren't we all Disney heads? No, not everybody, bud, but you're lucky enough to live less than an hour away, so we got a You Guys Rock, and then a Disney. Let's see. Justin Steffens. I might be mispronouncing his name, but Justin, let me know. I think I've heard of that guy. Donald Parham at Green Bay or Muth at Cleveland, full PPR. Rich, I'm going to look up how Cleveland is against tight ends, because I'm leaning Muth here, but I'm not sure how Cleveland is. So I'm going to let you start while I go look that up.
Yeah, look, Muth is he just got activated off the IR, so this will be his first game back. Parham is, depending on how the game situation is going and stuff like that, he's had his opportunities, but he's one of those, he's going to have a big game and then he's not going to have a big game. They still got other options there at the receiving game. Even Everett is their number 1 tight end and stuff. And Parham tends to get some looks when they're down in the red zone and everything. This one is a real tough one, Justin. I still think I'm rolling Muth, even though he's coming off IR and playing against Cleveland. Look, they might want to try to keep him active and kind of get him involved in the game. So
So Pro Football Reference has Cleveland the dead last matchup against tight ends. So the best matchup against your tight end. So we'll let that. Here's the problem. Parham's not getting enough. Hopefully, go find another tight end. Problem is Parham's not getting.
Yeah, hold on.
Oh, wait.
Breaking news. Everett is out, so Parham will be their number one tight end.
But even whenever it's there, neither one of them. It's not like they're targeting tight ends. That's a problem. And Muth coming off. I just don't trust Muth off injury against a really great Cleveland defense against tight ends. The problem is Parham. The Chargers are not using their tight ends in general. So even if it's just one, it doesn't. I don't know. I mean, of these two, I'm leaning Parham, but I don't like either one.
Yeah, I'm leaning Parham as well. Guyton's out, questionable. Allen's questionable. Everett's out. They may have no choice but to go to Parham quite a bit. So, yeah, I would go Parham.
Yeah,
right.
Look, I'll swing Parham.
All right, guys. Justin Steffens, Dak at Carolina, Dobbs at Denver, Kyler at Houston. So I guess the trouble for me here is because I want to say Dak right away. The tough part is if they get up real big, it's not going to be. I don't think it'll be like the Giants game where they want to embarrass them and leave them into the fourth quarter when they're up by like 30 whatever points. I don't know if they'll do that to Carolina like they did to the Giants. But maybe they will. I don't know. It's obviously for me, Dak. Like I said, I worry they blow him out quick, and then they pull him, or they just start running the ball. But what say you guys? Are you with me on Dak as obvious, or would you want to take a shot with Kyler or Dobbs? And Pete,
I'm leaning Dak.
Oh,
Look,
Rich, go ahead.
Even if they blow the lead, this is week 11. We're not in week 16, 17, 18 where you're thinking about resting your guys. Look, you're letting your players play and everything. They'll keep him in the game. If anything, he'll come in. They might bench him in the fourth quarter and stuff like that. But I still take three. The way Dak has been playing, I'll take 3 quarters out of him right now with his potential that he's had, all his throwing yards and TDs he's been throwing. So no doubt it's Dak. I don't care if he only plays 3 quarters.
And Pete.
Yeah, it's the obvious choice, Dak. Dobbs at Denver. Denver's been playing. Their defense has been playing pretty well. Houston is on fire. They're getting the job done. Yeah, Dak's the guy to go with the obvious choice right there.
All right, Ghostman Ron, Flex 1, Godwin, Connor, or Singletary. I'm going to start with Pete on this one. And let's assume it's PPR unless he tells us later otherwise.
Oh, that's a tough one there. I like Connor. He played well when he came back from injury last week. I'm sorry, I'm getting a bunch of pop-ups here for some reason. Singletary, he'll get his touches, but you got to go Godwin, right? He's the big playmaker for Tampa Bay, and he gets the job done. He might be the only guy that they go to, and I know he's got a tough matchup, but if this is a PPR, you're going to go Godwin.
Rich, agree or disagree?
I respectfully, I'm going to have to disagree with Pete on this one. Look, Godwin hasn't been himself like previous years, and Jason could probably vouch for that and everything. Mike Evans has really been kind of been just that the man carrying this team and everything, along with White. White has been killing it in the backfield and everything. Singletary, although he had a great game last week, the week before that he didn't. This week, he has the potential to do the same thing and everything, and in the offense he can and everything. But Connor, with damn, just slipped my name, Murray, with him back and everything, those two are lethal out of that backfield and stuff like that. The potential of Murray's running even opens up more for Connor and stuff. And Connor can do it both in the run game and the receiving game. And he had a good game coming back last week. I like him to carry his momentum against their matchup this week. So I'm taking Connor.
So here's the tough part. We're gonna split this 3 ways. So you're gonna just have to choose which argument you like the best, Ghost Man. Because I'm taking Devin Singletary. Now, Pierce returned to practice on Friday, but he is ruled out for the game this weekend. Singletary had a huge game last week and is playing against the Cardinals team, which is awful against the run. I mean, the defense is just awful in general. Singletary got it done last week. I do expect that to be good going forward. As far as Godwin goes, like he's been okay. The problem is they're not running a lot of deep routes for him. He's getting a lot of the short stuff while Evans is going deep. So, in a PPR, it's not bad. It's just not great. So he's a good floor guy, but not a great ceiling guy. I think Singletary to me is both a floor and a ceiling. Like I think he's got the highest floor and the highest ceiling this week. So for that reason, I would go with Singletary.
Yeah, and to make it simple and stuff like that to kind of lean. Look, I could go Singletary too and everything over Connor. I like Connor and stuff like that, but to help in this aspect of the question, I could lean Singletary too. So,
well, it is just because you can't erase the fact that we said 3 different things when it first came out. So we all 3 gave arguments of who we like. So hopefully Ghostman's listening and can just pick it out there. But it is cool that I did. It looks like I persuaded Frito to come to my side, so I'm good with that too.
Dark side.
It is the dark side. Although your room's darker and you're a Raiders fan, I would say you're the dark side.
All right, I'll take that.
All right, Konstantinos. You know what, Konstantinos? We're just gonna say your first name. GIF. It is Konstantinos. Singletary or Aaron Jones in a full PPR. This one's going to be tough for me to say, but I am going to say Devin Singletary for all the same reasons that I mentioned in the last question. Aaron Jones is a bit of a different player, but he hasn't been great this year. So I'm going to mute myself and go off to Rich so I can have a coughing fit. So go ahead, Rich.
Yeah. Man, Aaron Jones, let's see. Packers are playing the Chargers. You know what? I hate to say this. I'm leaning Aaron Jones. The fact that they're playing the Chargers, that defense is giving up some points to the running back and receivers and stuff. So Jones takes the edge for me on this one. It's close, but I just like Jones better.
Yeah, it is really close. I would only go Singletary only because Dylan's been taking pretty much everything away from Jones, and Jones hasn't been playing that well, even though the Chargers give up a lot of points. Jordan Love isn't playing like everyone hoped he would play. He's thrown 10 picks. Aaron Jones, you could go either way, but again, Dylan takes a lot of the stuff away from Aaron Jones, a lot of the carries, a lot of the catches out of the backfield. So, yeah, I would go Singletary.
Yeah, the thing I worry about Aaron Jones, I mean, the Chargers are 11th against the run. Not great, not bad. It's, oftentimes when you see those stats, like the Bucs are great against the run, a lot of times that's because why would you run against the Chargers? Why would you run against the Bucs? You can throw against them. So why bother doing the other? If you can get chunk plays, why bother running? I will say the Arizona's 28th against the run. So like they're awful. So that's one reason why I lean Singletary. And the other reason for me against Aaron Jones, and obviously the better player over their careers. But Jordan Love's not getting it done, right? Like Aaron Jones is getting less and less scoring opportunities. So that's another factor. But I do think both are good plays. For me, it's Singletary. For 2 of us, it's Singletary. For 1 of us, it's Aaron Jones. So Christine Cullen Shep says, looking good. Must be talking about Pete, because I know this don't look good. Could also be talking about Frito, though. I'm not sure, but Christine, if you want to correct, if you want to say who's looking good, and if you say it's me, I know you're lying. Nate, Devontae should get 20 targets a game, squeaky wheel or not. He's one of the best there is. You know, I get it, but coverages dictate sometimes not getting 20. And then Bobby Trauma says, happy Sunday, family. It's good to see Bobby. Sometimes, Pete, we call him Bobby Ham. And that's only because in one of the questions he asked before, he said he would take ham over bacon. None of us could believe it, so he's Bobby Ham for us now. Jerry Bagshaw says, what up, guys? Good morning, Jerry. Happy football Sunday to you. And then Justin Steffens has another question for us. Need 2 wide receiver and a flex. So, Pete, the way I usually like to take these is if he needs 2 of one specific position, we do that position first, and then we talk about the flex. So we're going to talk about the wide receivers first since he needs 2 of them. Lockett versus the Rams, Addison versus Denver, Devontae Smith versus Kansas City, Jalen Reed versus the Chargers. So of those, you know what? I'm going to do this a little differently because his other options are Tajay Spears at Jacksonville and Chuba against Dallas. And for me, it's going to be all 3. I'm going to take 3 wide receivers out of this group so I can ignore the running backs for me personally. So for me, it's going to be Lockett, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Reed. And I'm leaving Addison out because of Dobbs and not being a fan of any wide receiver targets there. But you guys probably clearly will disagree with me. So 2 wide receivers and a flex. We'll go with Frito because I saw him making some faces over there. Yeah, side note, Pete, if you make faces or nod or shake your head or what, disagree, obviously agree, whatever. Like the bigger the movement, I'm kind of like the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. If I see you move, you're probably going to get picked on next.
Okay.
Good to know. Just so you know. So go ahead, Rich.
Okay, so I'm definitely in Lockett and Smith as the 2 receivers. Anytime a question comes up where Green Bay receivers in the question, I don't know why we lean that way. We can never tell which one is going to be the one getting the ball and everything. It's just, I don't know. It's almost like me in fantasy football. I never draft a Cowboys player on it, so I don't want them on any of my teams. That's kind of how I feel about Green Bay Packer receivers. I'm never going to pick one because we just don't know which one's going to show up. So that's the only reason why I wouldn't pick Reed and everything. Look, he's tons of potential, but all 3 of them do, and we just don't know what to expect on who Love is going to go to that week and everything. So with that being said, as far as my flex, I do like Chuba, even though they are playing against Dallas. Man, I would love to say Tajay and everything, but Henry's still there. Although he hasn't been performing like Henry should be performing. I'm going all 3 receivers, and I'm throwing Addison in there over Jalen Reed.
And he has Jalen, but it's Jaden. So just because he got us confused.
Oh, that changes everything. No, I'm just playing.
I mean, at least it changes the spelling. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna run for the 2 wide receivers with Lockett and Smith for sure. Feel bad for Chuba, who he's got to play Dallas, and they're just going to tear the Panthers up today. But for that flex, I'm going to go Addison on that one. I think he can have a pretty good game today in Denver. They're probably going to depend on throwing that ball a lot. With Madison having that concussion, and he's coming back from that. I do believe the Denver's pass defense isn't that great, and they can give up a lot of points. So, yeah, I'll go Addison on that flex.
All right, so it's going to be our choices here is it's Lockett, it's Smith, and then 2 for Addison, 1 for Reed. So Addison takes it. All right. Let's see. Rate this trade. Gave away Debo Samuel, acquired Jonathan Taylor. I think that's a good trade for you, getting Jonathan Taylor. I do worry a little bit about his schedule upcoming. Let me pull the Colts schedule back up because when I saw this down here, I looked at it real quick. So, obviously not playing today. Then he's got Buccaneers, Titans, Bengals, Steelers, Falcons. All those teams are pretty good against the run. But you know what? It's Jonathan freaking Taylor. Like, go get him. That's a great trade for you.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, really good trade.
All right, so I am taking a look to see if we're getting some. My phone keeps buzzing, and that's it's usually just because I'm busy. But I'm checking to see if there's any injury updates as we go along here. 12 team half PPR. Okay, so that's that for that trade. He says start Achane over D Hop. I see a nod, so we're gonna go with Rich.
Yeah, he also said he's already starting Raheem. You know what? I don't hate it if you start both of them. They both have the potential to have good games. Besides that, first game with Levis, D Hop hasn't really done anything since that first game and everything. So I would lean A-Chain and Raheem in this lineup over D Hop.
And do you agree, Pete?
No. But that's just me personally. I'm not a fan of starting two running backs from the same team. And D Hop, he's still D Hop. Hopkins can catch the ball. We'll leave us. Who do they got today?
They've got Jacksonville.
Yeah, Jacksonville. If you've seen what happened to Jacksonville last week, you want to start DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, I probably don't want to play both, although they both were usable when they were both on the field previously. I probably would lean safe and go Mostert and Hopkins here. I don't think you can go wrong the other direction, but I personally would probably do D-Hop and Raheem Mostert and hope it's a big game.
All right, let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Would you, excuse me, would you start Gibbs and Montgomery in the same lineup?
Yes.
Over Hopkins?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, same. I would and stuff like that. And A-Chain and Raheem, look, man, the speed on this team between these players and other players with the Hill and Waddle. And like I said, I'm not trying to bag and stuff on my own team and stuff, but they are playing against the Raiders and stuff like that. And if it was another team, maybe I would change it and stuff like that. But man, it's against the Raiders' rush defense and stuff, and it has not been there. So I'm just, like I said, food for thought. It ain't a killer that you're starting two running backs off the same team when they have the offense to support it.
No, I agree. I do agree. I think I worry a little bit that, like, one, I don't think A-Chain's going to be the starter. He's only going to get a couple of carries, and if they're not huge, and if Mostert's doing well, maybe they bring A-Chain back a little bit slower. I guess that's the worry there, especially if you have another good option in Hopkins, and I think Hopkins can be a good option against Jacksonville. So I think that's a reason why I lean that way. I mean, I've said A-Chan earlier, but again, it was like a high ceiling, low kind of floor play. Like he could get, I kind of hedged it with, like, if you need to chase points, I think A-Chan's your guy. And I hope he proves me wrong, because I was able to pick him up in a couple places, and he's been on my IR slot, and I'm excited to have him back. So, but it's definitely a valid point. Like, I would start Gibbs and Montgomery, although I probably wouldn't have done it last week with Montgomery coming back for the first week. You know what I mean? So I think that might be
just another food for thought.
No, it's definitely a valid point.
Here's another one though. Hopkins, this is where he ranks amongst receivers every week. Wide receiver 26, wide receiver 62, wide receiver 61, wide receiver 38, wide receiver 7 when they played against the Colts wide receiver 85, wide receiver 2 that one game with Levis, but since then, wide receiver 27 and wide receiver 57. Yeah, I get it. He's Hopkins, but he's not the Hopkins of the past. And as much as I hate saying that and everything, A-Chain has a potential. Once again, I'm not trying to persuade anybody, but I'm just saying A-Chain could just one play could outdo what Hopkins might do a whole game. That's it. That's all I got. I'm done. Leaving it up.
All right, we all gave our arguments. So, and then let's see. Okay, we got
real quick. I wanted a shout out. So I got this sent to me. This is actually Frito Bandito from back in the days with Frito Lay. So someone sent me this hat because they know everybody calls me the Frito Bandito. So
all right. Good shout out. Thanks, Rich. Let's see. Bobby says Ty Chandler or James Cook. I'm lower than most people, I think, this week on Ty Chandler, and that might be to my own demise. But I'm going to say James Cook here.
Yeah, if I have James Cook, I'm starting him over Ty Chandler.
Yeah, you don't know what's going on with Minnesota yet, Madison. Again, that concussion, we don't know what he's going to do. He is going to start. So, yeah, Cook's got to be the way to go on that.
And then Bobby says, sorry about the rapid fire. I'm about to be driving, so hopefully we caught you before you're driving, Bobby. Justin, again, 2 wide receivers and 1 flex. Let's see. DJ Moore, Ayuk, CD, Godwin, Lockett, Deontay Johnson, Jerome Ford.
Get out of here with this question, Justin. Come on, man.
I mean, so Ayuk and CD have to be in your lineup, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So is it Puka? Is Puka a must start with Stafford back, or do we do DJ? I mean, I think I have to put Puka in. Man, this is such good. This is so good, though.
I agree. That's why I said get this question out of here and go.
I mean, does it matter?
It does. And look, when it's all said and done, it does. Look, out of the options, he has Jerome Ford as the only running back. Okay, look, has the potential to have a good game, but you're dealing with Kareem Hunt, so he's out of the question for me. Deontay Johnson, he has been doing decent and everything, but it's still Pickett throwing to him. You got Muth coming back and everything, so the run game is surprisingly, and this happens every year with Steelers. The run game actually starts getting better towards the end of the season, and they start leaning more heavily on the run game, and they have 2 options that could help in that aspect of it. So that throws Deontay out for me. I do like Lockett in this matchup. I just like Metcalf a little bit more. Godwin, I'm just not big on Godwin this year. He used to be like one of my favorites. I know Nate calls him the God Rod because of how good he was, especially last year coming back from his injury. He had an awesome season. Stafford is back though, and he raises Cup because that is his number 1 guy. But because of Stafford, of a good quarterback he is, and the focus is on Cup, Puka is going to have a game and stuff like that. He's going to have at least 10 targets, and I prefer that over DJ Moore with Justin Fields.
And do you agree?
Yep, 100%. That's exactly what I would do. It. Ayuk, CD, Puka, and I love that Justin is just rich at the wide receiver there in that league, whatever league that is.
We should tell him to bench CD just for fun. But then the problem is other people might think we're serious and then never listen to us again. So I don't know. It's one of those, I want to tell him not to play CD Lamb, but would he listen is the question. All right. So the next question from Justin is need 2 for flex, full PPR, Parham, Chandler, Hunt, and Hubbard. So I've been down on Chandler, but he finally found a question where I'm actually going to mention his name. For me, it's going to be Chandler and Hunt. And it's pretty simple. I don't want Hubbard against Dallas, and we talked about how Parham Even when he's on the field, he's just not getting used. Now he has had a touchdown here and there, but like not a fan of Parham. So Pete, do you agree? I got the thumbs up from Rich, so we're just gonna say Rich agrees. Do you agree, Chandler and Hunt?
I agree with the Hunt. Again with the Parham. I don't know. I go Parham Hunt only because of the injuries that's going on in San Diego with the receivers and Spiller's out as well. Everett's hurt and he's out, so Parham might get a lot more targets than he usually does.
All right, Justin, need one for flex. Pickens at Cleveland, Chandler at Denver, KJ Osborne at Denver.
Is Justin fixing to get on the road too?
He must be. He must be. You know what, Rich? You commented. I'll let you go first because I like that joke.
Justin, before you get on the road, man, be safe. Lori, make sure you pack him a good little lunch for the road crossroad country trip.
And if you see a coffin laid on the road, stop and pick it up. Come on,
yes,
man.
Please do. I mean, that was such a big miss, Justin. Come on, man. All right. So with this question, Pickens, Chandler, or KJ Osborne? I am not taking KJ Osborne as he was coming back from concussion protocol the week before and didn't really do too well. So I want to see what kind of what he has in store for us. I'm going to avoid him. You have two Minnesota, so obviously you wouldn't. Man, Pickens is another thing. I just don't know what to expect from him, man. He has the potential and everything, but that's the thing. They got so many options there and stuff like that. You're not going to see a consistency from him, especially with Deontay Johnson there. I'm leaning Chandler in this one. Here's another one where I am going to take Chandler.
Yeah, I tend to agree here. Cleveland's the number 2 defense against wide receivers. The over-under in this game is 33, which means the implied team total for the Steelers is 15. Now it could be Pickens that scores there, but it could be Najee, it could be Warren, it could be Deontay. I guess it probably could be Muth. I don't like it for Pickens, and KJ Osborne hasn't been all that good when he's been on the field. So of these three, I'm gonna say Ty Chandler as well.
Yeah, I agree. Ty Chandler is definitely the way to go. Cleveland's secondary plays pretty well. Pickens, he's a hit or miss. He got Pickett thrown to him. So like Rich said, and KJ Osborne, the defense in Denver, they're shaky, but again, they're getting better. They're getting a lot better, and they're going into Denver and playing with a backup quarterback. I'm not going to give KJ Osborne, the thumbs up.
All right, Brandon Williams says, pick 3 in a PPR: Garrett, Deontay, Sutton, Dell, and Lockett. Is Garrett healthy? Do we know?
No, he's not.
No.
Okay.
And that's because he's not healthy. It's because he has the other Wilson thrown to him.
I'm just trying to read. Garrett Wilson is listed as questionable, but likely said he will play. So he's playing. I still think I lean Sutton, Dell, and Lockett for mine. You can't sit Tank Dell. He's been playing too good. Sutton catches a touchdown every week, and then Lockett had a big week last week. I think he'll have a decent week again this week.
Yeah,
Anybody disagree?
Nope. That's exactly where I'm at.
Starting to get some updates here as far as injuries. Nothing. Like it says, Trey Lance's status has changed from healthy to out. Does anybody expect anything different? I don't know why I'm getting that notification today.
It may be because he might have played if Dak only played a half or a third quarter, so maybe that helps somebody else.
It seems like, I mean, I guess he's your third quarterback, so why would you get him on the field? You'd get your backup on the field to get some reps, but it seems like, you get up big. This might be the type of game you'd want to get him some reps to see if you got anything with him. But so Brandon Williams says Jordan Love or Russell Wilson. I've got Russ one spot higher this week than Jordan Love. So really it's a toss up for me, and it's a pick your poison. I'm going to say Russ because I like his options, his wide receiver options better.
Yeah, look, Russ is surprisingly one of the best fantasy QBs this year after the horrible season he had last year. I mean, it's funny that you're watching the game and how much he's running with the ball and stuff like that. It's almost like he's rejuvenated and everything. So I like Russ just because of the fact of his run potential. So,
yep, I like Russ too. Jordan Love, again, he's thrown 10 interceptions. He's just not playing well at all. His wide receivers don't help him very much either. So you got to go Russ on this one, and Sutton's playing really, really well.
So this is a tough question. This one. Who are you benching here? Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, or Dak? I think I have to bench Justin Herbert. I think I have to bench Justin Herbert. Like, if I don't know how you have all three of these quarterbacks. I wonder if this is like Frankenstein and he stole quarterbacks.
Yeah, it could be a good possibility.
I'm taking a look at my QB rankings, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be Justin Herbert for me. Rich, do you agree?
Yeah, I did have my rankings pulled up, but
I do have Herbert the lowest.
What was mine? If you got it pulled up.
Oh, hold on. Let me get back to it. I just closed it.
Oh, sorry.
You go ahead, Pete. I'll let you go.
This is really interesting. Again, Justin just he who is he drafting against? His wide receivers, his quarterbacks, they're some really good picks. Yeah, you're benching Justin Herbert. I mean, Jalen Hurts. I know they're playing Kansas City, but I mean, it's Jalen Hurts. And Dak, Carolina is terrible. They're horrid. You got to pick Dak. That's 100%. I guess your only really question would, I mean, the tough would be Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, only because Jalen Hurts is playing Kansas City. Justin Herbert is playing a really bad Green Bay team as well. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go Jalen Hurts and Dak for sure.
And then Rich, you've got Hurts and Prescott 1 and 3. So
I don't even have Herbert ranked in my top 10 this week and everything. I like other options and everything. So Herbert would be the one that I'm benching in this week.
Yep. All right. Let's see. Really need help on this team, fellas. 1 wide receiver, 2 running backs. Flex. Running backs: Henry, Mostert, Connor, Brian, Robinson. Wide receivers: Deontay, Dell, Sutton. So we need 1 wide receiver and 2 running backs and a flex. So running backs. For me, it's going to be Mostert and Brian Robinson.
Yep, same.
I'll agree on
Pete?
that. Yep.
Okay. So 1 wide receiver for me, it's going to be Tank Dell.
Yeah.
And then flex for me, it's between Sutton and Connor. And I think Connor has the same opportunity to score a touchdown that Sutton does. But I think his ceiling's higher. So I'm going to go Connor over Sutton.
100% across the board with you.
Yep. 100.
You know, I do worry that this is like all those TV announcers when they all pick the same team. And so we all picked the same here, and Henry's going to be great, and Deontay's going to do well, and, you know, Sutton's going to be incredible, and we picked all the wrong things. But, you know, we all agree, Brandon, so take that for what it's worth. All right, another one from this Justin Steffens guy. I hope he's a Patreon because we are sure giving him his money's worth this week. Must sit one of these in a PPR. Cup for Seattle, Debo versus Tampa, Tank Dell versus Arizona, Amon-Ra versus Chicago, and CD versus Carolina. Must sit one.
Dude, get away with these questions, Justin. Dude, come on. You got to do a better job at drafting. This is horrible, man.
You know what it must be is his wife, I think, drafted this team.
Oh, okay. Lori, I apologize. Great job. Great job.
I think you have to sit Debo in this. Like, I'm just looking it over. You can't sit Amon-Ra. He is incredible week in and week out. You can't sit CD, obviously, although I'd love to tell Justin to do it. You can't sit Cup. So, to me, it's between Tank Dell and Debo, and I just think Tank against Arizona has the higher upside. But do you guys agree with all my logic there?
I'm going to disagree. With just one player, I want to see. I would put Cup over Debo. Tampa Bay plays a little bit better. Yeah, I would sit Debo. Unless is that what you said?
Yeah, that's what we said.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He's agreeing to disagree.
Yeah.
Hey, that's the reason why we brought Pete on, man, just for that analysis right there.
Yeah.
You having fun, Pete?
Oh, absolutely.
I hope we're making it fun for you. We like to have a little bit of, sometimes we bring up different questions like what would you eat for breakfast or, what's your favorite food out of the can? I don't have any of those. So if any of the listeners want to bring anything up, but I haven't asked you, Pete, what's your favorite food? Now, we're not talking like you can't cook it, you can't mix it, straight out of the can. What's your favorite food?
Straight out of a can?
Yeah, straight out of the can. That reaction tells me I'm not gonna like your answer.
Potato and bacon soup.
Okay. I'm okay with that. Mine's ravioli or SpaghettiOs.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't eaten that for a while.
No, I'm not supposed to be eating it now either, so I haven't been. But like, if I had to, that's what I'm eating. I can't remember what Rich's was.
Or green beans.
Yeah, yours was weird. Yours was like a vegetable, which was odd to me, but like, it's fine. So at least it's not tuna.
Oh yeah, no, thank you on that.
Like, I like tuna, but you got to mix it with stuff. You can't just eat it out of the can.
Yeah.
My son says he's back, so welcome back, bud. I got to get you into fantasy football so you can ask some real questions, dude. Justin says, Scott Fishbowl must start 2. Aiden O'Connell at Miami, Jake Elliott at Kansas City, Brandon McManus at Tennessee. This one I think is just to get under Rich's skin.
Oh, man. You know what, Justin? Just for you, I'm saying Aiden O'Connell. And I ain't going to give you a reason for it.
You got to pick 2, though.
Aiden O'Connell again.
Just start him twice.
Go McManus. Connell McManus.
I'm going to say O'Connell because I do think they're going to be behind Miami and going to have to throw the ball a lot. They're not going to get away with giving Josh Jacobs the ball. Other than passing, they'll have to pass it to him. I think they'll be behind and they have to throw the ball to catch up. So this week I will say Aiden O'Connell. And I'll probably say Jake Elliott against Kansas City. Kansas City's defense is pretty stout, so I think they'll have to settle for some field goals. So I like Jake Elliott.
Yep, Aiden O'Connell and Jake Elliott for sure.
There was a bet, and keep in mind the bet between Rich and Justin. Rich won in like every other in most leagues. Rich would win Aiden O'Connell versus a kicker. But in Scott Fishbowl, you get a lot of points for longer field goals. So I think in Scott Fishbowl, Justin would have won if we could have bet the rules of the Scott Fishbowl. But There was a bet earlier, and it was closer than you would have expected, quarterback versus kicker. So, let's see. I have a question for you guys. If you see a team you need to lose, he needs to pick up a certain position before the game to fill their roster. Would you pick up the best player in that position just to block him? Absolutely, I would. So if a team you're fighting for a position in play for the playoffs needs like a wide receiver or kicker or running back, and I have a player that you can move to the IR or you can drop, or that's just good sound strategy, man. Like, and you should be looking for that. Especially in superflex leagues with quarterbacks, if you don't have like a roster maximum for quarterbacks, go pick up a quarterback that's going to start if that team needs it, or a great, like a really good pickup. A lot of times you see wide receivers that get dropped because a team has players on bye, and so they have to drop a guy, and that might help another team. Yeah, you totally go screw that team. Because
and there's I don't know how everybody's leagues are, but you got some leagues, and I do this all the time, is look, I just go through and pick players up and drop them back, because once you drop them, they can't be picked up until waiver wire runs and everything. So that's something I do to I don't keep them on my roster. I have one player that I could constantly try to do that, just to kind of help myself from blocking the players the teams I'm playing against.
So I'm in a league where it used to be that if a player got dropped, he couldn't get picked up till the next week. It didn't matter when he got dropped. So come waiver time, I would pick up and drop every quarterback if another team needed one before they got to him. That way those teams couldn't do it. And it happened one time before they fixed it. Because, you do that once and then everybody's pissed off, but it's like, hey, those are the rules and this is the game.
Yep.
As long as it's within the league rules, you go do it.
Yeah, it's a great strategy. And then, if you can put him on your roster, even if you can keep him on your roster, you never know. An injury hits, boom, there he is. You got a guy to replace real quick.
All right, this next one's a little bit tough. It's Lori Stevens, no relation to Justin Steffens, I don't believe. But one of our better listeners, Lori, she says Brandon Ayuk versus Tampa. Now this is pick one. Stephon Diggs versus the Jets. Tony Pollard versus Carolina. Josh Jacobs versus Miami. Pick one. Rich, go ahead. Yep.
I'll tell you one that I'm not picking, and that's Tony Pollard.
Yeah.
Don't know what. Man, just one, Lori, huh?
Well, look, you've seen some of the other teams that she's drafted already earlier, and they've all been pretty good. So,
did Justin put you up to this, Lori?
You know what it is she listens to us regularly. So she knew who to pick. She knew who to draft.
And you know what? I'm leaning Josh Jacobs, because even if they get behind, he's going to be involved in the receiving game. He has been the focal point of the Raiders since the last 2 weeks, since Antonio Pierce has taken over as the interim coach. So I am leaning Josh Jacobs here.
Yeah, that's where I'm going, Josh Jacobs as well. He's their guy. He's going to run the ball, catch the ball. He's going to do it all.
So I'm Pete, you don't know this, but I'm going to pull the Jason where I get to pick when two people choose the same player, and I get to pick whoever I want. And Lori should listen to you guys and not to me, because I'm the odd man out, but you guys went first. So if I'm right, I get to say I was right. And if I'm wrong, she should have listened to you guys. So we call this doing the Jason. I'm going to take Brandon Ayuk against Tampa secondary. Like I said, they played better last week, but I think San Francisco is going to have a lot of wide open players in the secondary. And I think Ayuk is the type of guy that gives Tampa all kinds of fits. So I would play Brandon Ayuk, but I understand you guys picking Josh Jacobs. I do think he's going to be heavily involved. Although, like I mentioned a couple questions ago, I think it's going to be more in the pass game, which in a PPR is fine, right? So, let's see. Krana Shah, I have White as my RB2. Or should I swap him for Achane and flex Addison, Warren, or White in a PPR? So basically, he's just saying pick 2 here. For me, it's going to be, I'm going to say Achane and White. Although Tampa's got a tough matchup, they are a little bit vulnerable to running backs that catch the ball. They're good against running backs in general, but they're good. But running backs who catch the ball can get something, and that's where White's been doing well. Rashad White's been doing well, including like a 40-something yard screen to the house last week. So I think he's going to be involved enough in the passing game that I think he has a very safe floor, and then you have a high upside ceiling with Achane. So those are the 2 I would select. Sorry, Pete. I gotta pause. I want to see if it's.
I'm gonna go Achane. Rich kind of convinced me on that home run hitter type of player. I'm gonna put him as my running back 2, and then I'm gonna flex Addison. They have a chance to put some points up. I mean, I know he's playing with a backup, but Addison can produce a lot better. I think Warren is going to struggle against Cleveland, and White is going to struggle against that San Francisco defense.
And Rich.
Yeah, look, I'm rolling Achane and White. I know Jason remembers this incident and stuff like that. He might not remember who I picked, but when we were at our fantasy football expo this past summer and stuff, we all 3 took shots together. I don't know if you remember that same way, but for us to take these
it's
shots,
not how I remember it, Rich.
So let's not talk about rehash the past. One of the questions for us to get that shot was who did we think? We just had to give a hot take and stuff like that. And my hot take was Rashad White finishing as a top 5 running back by end of season. Look, he's right there and everything. He gets the run opportunity, and he's getting those passes out of the backfield and everything. Even if they're behind, he's going to be in the lineup. They're not going to take him out for someone that they play in situational football because they're behind. He's still that running back that is going to be in that backfield and everything. So that's the reason why I like White and Achane. So
yeah. So the shot thing. Rich gave his hot take first. I went next, and then George went. And George and I turned around with our shot in our hand, and Rich has wandered off, taking his shot and gone, and we're just like, I thought we were going to drink together, but I guess not. No, Rich is not a guy you take a shot. You know what? Next expo, bud, we'll do a shot together, and I'll probably take mine before you even get yours just to pay you back.
Gotcha.
Let's see, Justin mentioning Rich getting free merch, so there's some flames. You want to say thanks again for your hat?
Yeah, beat the Bandito, Mr. Frito Bandito himself. Appreciate it.
Krana says flex 2 PPR B-Rob Lockett Addison. I mean, I've been pretty high on B-Rob, so I've been high on B-Rob and Lockett, and I've been low on Addison, so I think that's where I'm going to stay. Pete, you agree, disagree? I know you've been higher on Addison than I have.
I agree, but yeah, I agree. B-Rob's got to be the guy to go. He's going against the Giants defense that's just terrible right now.
All right, and then Rich, you agree? I saw you nodding. Okay. And then finally, I have the Lions defense. Does DJ Moore have a big day today? Thanks, guys. Well, that's $1 million question. I think he has an okay day. But Pete, who's a Bears fan, seemed to be pretty down on him. So, Pete, why don't you expound on that a little bit?
Okay, so DJ Moore is going to get his catches. He's going to get the ball thrown his way a lot. The defensive line of the Bears is playing a lot better. They're healthy. The Lions' defensive line is really good, and they've been playing the whole season really good. So they're going to get to Justin Fields a lot, and Justin Fields is coming off that thumb dislocation. How is that going to affect him every time he gets hit when he throws that ball? His grip strength and all. But I think DJ Moore still gets somewhere between 6 to 8 catches.
Yeah, and that's a great week, right? If you're getting 6, now it could be like Kamara earlier in the season. He had 13 catches for 40 some odd, 30 some odd yards. I don't expect that from DJ Moore, so it could be something like that. But if you're telling me DJ Moore is getting 6 to 8 catches, I say he has a decent game, double-digit points. But that doesn't mean the Lions defense won't have a good week, won't turn the ball over from Fields a few times. So I think the Lions are an okay play this week.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are always worried about having their defense when they have players on their team that they're playing against. Never think that and stuff like that. One player ain't gonna truly, if their defense is good or decent, they ain't truly gonna affect them that much. It takes a whole team to make a defense look horrible and stuff like that. So just because DJ Moore is playing against them and you have them, I still fire up the Lions defense. They have the potential to sack Justin Fields, fumbles. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that they could get from it. So I'm not, that doesn't change my aspect on how I pick players when they're playing against my defenses.
Yep. Bobby Ham says McBride over Kincaid or flex one of them over Puka. I'll start. I am going to say McBride over Kincaid, especially with Kyler back. I love that. And I am not going to flex Kincaid over Puka. And any disagreements, I see 2 thumbs up from Rich, so we're good there. Yep. Pete, you on my side? All right. Black Body Absorber, good morning, fellas. Pardon the tardiness. Hey, if you get it in under 12:30, you are not tardy. You got it in 11:30, so thank you for watching, as always, Black Body Absorber. Flex 1, Warren, Chandler, Myers in a PPR. I'm going to go with Pete first.
Orange. I'm going to go Myers. Again, I know they're playing Miami, but Myers gets his catches. He gets his touches. I know Aiden O'Connell's playing, but he's been doing really well. He gets the ball out. He goes after Myers a lot. I know Devontae Adams wants those touches, and he's starting to make a little bit of noise again. But I'm still going to go Myers.
Rich, you're the Raiders fan. Do you agree or disagree?
Oh man, actually, it's a little bit closer than I would like it to be. Myers scored a touchdown last week, but it wasn't a passing. It was kind of like a sweep. Yeah, you know what? I'm leaning Myers. Just potential of them having to being behind in the game and everything, and having to play catch up. So he should get plenty of opportunity against this defense. So I'm going Myers.
All right, and I'm gonna pull the Jason. I'm gonna say Warren, but it's super close for me between Warren and Myers. Again, we talked a little bit, and we had a comment about Devontae Adams being the squeaky wheel. Somebody mentioned he should have 20 plus catches or targets. I tend to agree there as well. But of the 3, I would go Warren, but can understand why you'd want to go Myers here, especially probably being behind and having Devontae Adams being covered by Jalen Ramsey, potentially leaving Myers open. So, Black Body Absorber, 6-point passing touchdowns. Goff or Kyler Murray? I just want to check one thing real quick. Yeah, Goff is at home. So for me, 6-point passing touchdown, Goff being at home, I'm going to say Jared Goff.
Yep, same here.
Yep, same here.
All right. Stroud or Purdy, 6-point passing touchdown. And he says, good luck to everyone this week. So I am going to say stay with. It's tough because I think Purdy has a big game against the Buccaneers. But I'm going to stay in the Flames with Stroud. But I am going to go back and look at my rankings to make sure I'm right on that. So I'll look at yours too, Rich. But so
Okay.
Go ahead, Pete.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Stroud on this. Lights out rookie this season. He's on a pretty good streak here. His receivers are doing him a lot of favors, catching them balls. And I mean, how could you not be high on Stroud right now?
Yeah, I think Rich and I both have Stroud higher in our pick, so that should be probably our answer there. And I'm pretty happy that when I do all the research and I look this up for getting this out early in the week, and then I go several days of being sick and then not feeling good and decorating the house for Christmas and I still remember that I like Stroud. Since I'm pretty happy at my old age that I'm remembering this stuff still. Justin, another question. For Frankenstank, you got to start 2. Goff, Dak, Josh Allen.
Bench Allen.
Yep.
Ooh, yeah, I think so too. Dak and Goff for me. And then he's still just bragging, right?
Yeah. Hey, I will say he said this year was just one of those years for him where he's like dominating everywhere and stuff like that. He was talking about on an earlier podcast this week. And based off these questions, yes, Justin, I can see how you're dominating.
What's funny is I was there for him so were you, I think, Rich, right? When he drafted this team in Frank.
Yep.
And he drafted it for somebody else. He drafted it for a guy who couldn't make it because he was in a different live draft and it ran long. Mm-hmm. And then ended up keeping the team and letting that guy have a team in a different division. So he didn't even mean to draft this team and he's killing it. So
yeah, and to be fair, the guy that was supposed to be there, he drafted well too. He's actually, I think he's undefeated 2 or 1 loss 2 with the team he drafted, filling in for the other leagues. So both good, solid teams.
I'm doing pretty good. So, if you guys don't know what it is, Frankenstank is our listener league. Most of you guys watching know what it is, but it's a vampire league. You win, you take players. I had 2 weeks. 1 week where the leprechaun got me and I couldn't steal a player even though I won. And then I had another week where guys hid their best players against me. Or my team would be way better than it is right now. But I'm having a pretty good week, but I'm getting ready to run into a buzzsaw. So I think I'm going to lose this week. Bobby Ham, which quarterback on waivers would you start over Dobbs if you were inclined? Matt Stafford? And that's really it besides, I think he meant Levis there.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he posted it right underneath it.
Yeah. I would probably stick with Dobbs over Matt Stafford coming back off injury. And if Levis is your only other option, then I would just roll with Dobbs. Do you guys agree?
Yes.
So I think we've seen, even though Puka and Cooper Kupp have had big games together, Puka's obviously had big games without Kupp. Kupp has always had big games. That hasn't really transferred to like Stafford having big weeks, even when he was healthy. Like he's been good, and by yardage he's been good. But he's not a top 12 quarterback when healthy this year. So I think I just roll with Dobbs and hope that he does well. And then Laporta or Kincaid. I think I take Laporta against the Bears over Kincaid against the Jets. You guys agree?
Yep.
All right. Kyler or Herbert. Now, I'm gonna start with Rich because I don't think you have either one of these guys in your top 10. So, so you truly have to choose here.
Yeah. I do not have either of these guys ranked in my top 10 though. Herbert was closer though, getting in my top than Kyler was. So I will lean Herbert in this question. I think when it was all said and done, I think I probably had Herbert right around 13.
All right, and Pete.
I agree. Herbert's got to be where you go because he's always playing. The team's always defense is always giving up so many points, and he's got a big arm and he puts up points. He puts up big yards. So yeah, you're gonna go with Herbert on this one.
All right, and then Aiden Badia says Ty Chandler or Kenneth Walker the third. Rich, I see you nodding. I'm gonna Jurassic Park over to you.
Yeah, I'm glad you worded that way because I don't know why I was thinking Kyron Williams the third for some reason. Guys like, well, I don't think he's playing this week, so that one's an easy one for me. But that's not the question. I'm sure it was Kenneth Walker. So in this case, I'm leaning Kenneth Walker still. Look, he seems to get it done, even though the other running back is getting some touches. Walker, it seems like every time I turn on or see something, he's still getting it done and getting me close to 15 to 20 points every week that he plays. So,
and Pete.
Yeah, I agree. With Rich, KW3 is the way to go on that one. I know he's been out touched, but he's still their guy. He's the running back up there in Seattle, and I would put him over Chandler for sure.
Yeah, I mean they have higher over/under, higher implied team total. The Rams are a better team against the run than Denver is, although, like I said, Denver's been better the last several games, and the stats I'm looking at season long. So I would go with Kenneth Walker. He's getting less snaps than Charbonnet, but he's doing more fantasy-wise with it. He's the home run hitter, and I want to hit some home runs. So for me, it's going to be Kenneth Walker. Krana Shaw says Herbert or Purdy. I have Herbert ahead of him in my over Purdy in my top 10. I think Rich has got Purdy in his top 10.
Yeah, right there at number 10.
So Herbert for me, Purdy for Rich, and then Pete, Herbert. You got to break the tie. Okay, so Herbert breaks the tie. Black Body Absorber, one more in a rival league. That's another thing I want to mention because we haven't yet. Rivalfantasy.com/title tribe. Rival Fantasy is a pretty cool way to settle old bar bets, right? Like used to be before the interwebs. Most of you kids don't remember a time before the internet, but it used to be when you'd have a bar bet, you'd say, I think this player is going to do better than this player. You'd have to actually wait until you saw the stats later and then try and find that guy again and collect. Well, Rival lets you do that player versus player in challenges, and you win instantly as soon as the games are over. You can play individual challenges. They have season long that they're testing out, which is one of these leagues that Black Body Absorber is talking about. They're testing them out with us. And then they also have what Justin loves, which is the bingo cards, where you pick your players, and then they give you random stat on a bingo card. So, it would say quarterback going to rush for a touchdown in the third quarter. And then if you have Justin Fields and he does that, you cross that off your bingo card. And then if you get them all in a row, you win bingo and you win the pot. So they do kind of cool bets like that. But again, it's joinrival.com/title tribe is the code. Rival will match you up to $200 of your first deposit. And with Title Tribe as your code, you get an extra $25 as a bonus. So joinrival.com/title tribe. Anyway, so one more rival league, need 2 wide receivers, Lockett, Sutton, Johnson, and Brandon Cooks. I'm just going to come out and say Lockett and Sutton. Lockett is a high upside guy, and Sutton's been a touchdown machine. Cooks has been good sometimes, but I don't know if he's going to be needed. And then Deontay Johnson last week, 1 reception for 17 yards. Just a weird, I like Deontay Johnson. I think he's going to be good going forward, but that 1 for 17 last week gives me pause. So for me, it's going to be Lockett and Sutton. Pete, do you agree?
Yeah, I agree with that one.
Look, I'm gonna agree with it too, but black body absorber. Look, I don't think it's really gonna matter. I think, me personally, it doesn't matter which two you pick of the four. All of them are gonna be putting up 12 plus points this week. I think that's the floor for all four of them. That's even with Brandon Cooks. Look, he's been on a tear the last 2-3 weeks with the options that he has had and stuff. You know, at 1 week, I think multiple touchdowns and everything. So I still think him being the one to kind of still keep on doing what he's doing. But I think all four of these receivers have good weeks this week. So I don't think it really is going to matter which ones you put in there. I will lean Lockett and Sutton for the higher opportunity, but all of them are going to at least produce 12 plus points.
All right. So what he's saying, black body absorber, is you've got good options. Justin says Dak, Hurts, and Herbert question was a dynasty league. That's how he ended up with all three. Well, I mean, that's just great work in a super flex. It also seems like trade bait, but you know, some of those other questions means your team's pretty damn good. So Justin says, Lori says, I'm not allowed to ask more questions. I mean, you should be paying attention to Lori. Just truth be told. And he said he didn't get to his rival leagues yet. Justin says, who is my 10th tight end on the top 10 list? My 10th tight end, by the way, you can find this list at toiletstitles.com. Justin, you wouldn't have to ask us here, but if you want to know what it is, it's Logan Thomas with Washington. And then I'm going to scroll up to see who Rich's is George Kittle. So he's probably not available, but Logan Thomas might be. I don't know. He's been pretty good, so maybe not.
Also, another good option, just throwing this out there, is oh man, his name, tight end from the Jets. His name's slipping my mind.
Oh, now you made me miss it. So hold on, I'm gonna pull it back up because I know who you're talking about, but it's escaping me. And he has been pretty good this year, off and on. Tyler Conklin.
There you go.
Yeah, they use CJ Uzama a little bit, but Tyler Conklin's been getting most of the receptions from that tight end room, so not a bad call there either. I would play Conklin over Parham for sure, actually. Although I believe Pete's higher on Parham than both of us, so I don't want to say that all three of us would say that. I have to get rid of 2 for Herbert off IR, and I need a kicker. 14-team standard. My bench, Madison, Herbert, Olave, Shakir, Dowdle. Gino is a starting quarterback, Tua, and Jacksonville and Miami defense help. So I'm sorry, we both just coughed in your ears. So we need to drop 2 to take Herbert and a kicker. I think I probably
Shakir.
I mean, I almost defense. Yeah, I was gonna say Shakir and maybe Jacksonville's defense. The real question I want to ask here, because I think you're safe to drop a defense, pick whichever one you think is best. Personally, I think Miami's defense is going to start turning it around now that they've got some of their players back. Jacksonville got smoked by 49ers last week, but that's not going to happen every week. I get it. I think Shakir is probably a safe drop, but guys, what are we doing with Chicago's backfield? I know Herbert is back, and we're talking about, is he going to step right back into that role? Because Devonta Foreman has been playing well, and they still have Roschon Johnson there, who, to me, probably should get more opportunity. He's just not. But now it's 3 running backs. They'll probably have Devonta Foreman on, before the injury to Herbert. Devonta wasn't even getting game day dress. He was just like a healthy scratch. I don't see that happening with Herbert getting injured. They probably are going to have him dress each week, which means he's going to get carries each week. Do we want to keep Herbert? I've been saying a long way around to say, do we want to keep Herbert here? And then I'll start with Pete because it's his team.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing. Why drop any of those guys. I think you got to cut Herbert. I'm a Bears fan, but I mean, Foreman has just really played outstanding since he stepped in, and Johnson, they got to stop. They got to start implementing him in this offense. So it's going to be kind of a running back by committee. I'm gonna. If I were you, I would drop Herbert and the Jacksonville defense.
Rich, I think you said Shakir and Miami. It's really up to the rest of your team, like what you need more than anything else. But like personally, it's between Herbert and Shakir for me, and then drop one of the defenses. If you have decent, I probably start with Shakir and then a defense, but I'm not attached to Herbert either. I think Herbert's a guy you can cut if there's something else willing.
Here's the reason why you don't drop Herbert. Okay, we are in week 11 of fantasy football going into the playoffs. Okay, you don't drop running backs to the waiver wire for other teams to pick up when injuries could happen and everything. You keep your running backs that you have to make sure you have that depth going into the playoffs. Because the last thing you want to do, I know there's some leagues that I'm in where once you get to the playoffs, you can't even pick up anybody and everything. It's a lot more easier to pick up someone to fill in as a receiver than it is as a running back. So me personally, that's why you don't drop Khalil Herbert.
And it makes sense. Now, Bobby Ham says, yes, you can eat tuna from a can. And then he asks, do I think I'm better than a cat? I've seen cats eat their own vomit before, like literally like throw up and then like smell it and go, hey, that's something I want to put back in me. So yeah, I think I'm much better than a cat. I'm just going to throw that out there. So no, you can't eat tuna from a can. Vikings or Jets from Brandon Williams. I'm going to start with Rich.
Yeah, I'm picking Jets. They're playing against the Bills, and Allen loves giving away the ball. So opportunist time more than anything, especially with the Jets defense. They got good options to take those balls away.
And agree,
Yep.
Pete?
Yeah, I agree 100% with the Jets.
Yeah, I think I've got them pretty close in my rankings. You know, I guess we don't do defensive rankings, but looking over where I have them ranked this week, it's a couple spots difference, but I have the Jets above the Vikings. Let's see. I'm so non-competitive that I don't even want to drop Joe Burrow. I don't know if I can handle seeing him as a free agent. LOL. That's Lori because Lori loves Joe Burrow. And look, if fantasy football is supposed to be fun, and if dropping Joe Burrow hurts you and you have a roster spot, keep Joe Burrow, and just love that he's on your team. If that makes it fun. I don't recommend that for anybody else, but knowing Lori the way I know her, like I said, fantasy football is supposed to be fun. So if it won't be fun without Joey, keep him. Yeah, look, I love when we ask these questions and the listeners chime in. Chicken noodle soup out of the can for me. I do have to ask, though, because I do know people that eat the concentrated chicken noodle straight out of the can. You know, the kind that, like the Campbell soup that, like, you're supposed to add water to. So I just kind of want to know if it's, like, the home style where it's already pre-mixed with water, or if you're eating, like, the double noodle star, chicken condensed soup out of the can, and it's that, like, yellow sludge that you really need to liquid down a little bit. So, Jerry, if you see this, let me know. Let's see. Andrew Miller says, I need a wide receiver 3 and a flex and a PPR. JSN, Christian Watson, Deontay Johnson. Wide receiver 3 and a flex. For me, it's going to be JSN and Deontay Johnson. I'm avoiding Christian Watson like the plague, which I haven't been able to avoid apparently because I'm sick. So, but Christian Watson hasn't done anything all year. I think it's pretty safe to say. I think we all got enamored with Christian Watson last year on that string of a couple of games where he caught touchdowns week after week after week. But short of like 3 or 4 games, what has Christian Watson done besides disappoint? So For me, it's Deontay Johnson and JSN. And I saw two guys nodding. So, and it's 12:25. So we're gonna move right along here. Andrew Miller says wide receiver. Oh, we just did that
Same
one.
question, right?
Same question. Yep. Joe Clark says, let's go and happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you too, Joe. Good to see Joe chiming in. I love that guy. I love the football season, but the off season, Toys Titles does a ton of good content. And the Sunday night show that we usually do, Rich is usually on with me. And then we have Joe on there too. And sometimes he's happy Joe, but the weeks I really love is Grumpy Joe, where he just kills everybody we talk about. I love Grumpy Joe. So good to hear from you, Joey. Chad Rowan says, which running back to start and flex in a standard league? Madison, Pollard, Brian Robinson, Hubbard, or Hunt in a standard league. I'm going to go with Rich.
Yeah, look, even though I don't like making this choice, it has to be Pollard and Robinson. Robinson's an easy decision for me. But look, Pollard really hasn't gotten it done, but this could be the game that he does. If he doesn't get it done this game, then I'm seriously not thinking about picking him anymore. So because they're playing against Carolina, look, I'm going Pollard and Brian Robinson.
It's funny, every week it seems, because Dallas's schedule as of late has been pretty soft, and like going forward it's relatively soft. So like every week it seems like, okay, if Pollard doesn't do it this week, it's going to be somebody else. Yeah. Well, it's the Panthers. It's standard. The Cowboys have the opportunity to score more than most of these other teams. So for me, I completely agree. It's going to be Pollard and Brian Robinson. Pete,
I'm with you guys.
Justin Stevens, I'm dominating everywhere and I'll still get knocked out in the first round everywhere. That's usually how it happens. The best team. It's home league. We always have one team that's just dominant all season and loses the first round of the playoffs and then complains about not having a bye week. So just a normal thing. Pat Firemuth or Musgrave in a PPR? Pete, go ahead.
You're going to go Musgrave. Pat Firemuth was getting ready to hit injury reserve, and then all of a sudden today he goes into questionable, and now he's going to play. So I'm not sure if he's 100% healthy, how somebody can just go from being just that close to being IR and then to completely healthy in like 24 hours. So I'm going to go Musgrave.
Yeah, so not Musgrave. Firemuth is coming off IR. He was already on IR. He's coming back from his injury, so he's had time to get better and still, but it's his first game back and everything. So I want to see what Pat does and everything and see how he fits in with everybody else. There's a lot more opportunity, a lot more targets that has to be shared within this offense, and you ain't got the best QB there as it is. So I'm leaving Musgrave.
And I'm on board with you guys. Minnie Jordan, full PPR, choose one. Dubs, Watson, Johnson, Osborne, and Guyton.
All right, so here is one of those. Go ahead.
I'll go first. I'm, Green Bay wide receivers can't do it, so not Watson or Dubs. Osborne hasn't been doing that well, and then you have Guyton, who's, he might be one of the only options for the Chargers, but is that Quentin Johnson or like Deontay Johnson?
That was the one thing I was wondering too. I was thinking it was Quentin Johnson.
So if it's Quentin Johnson, I'm taking Guyton. If it's Deontay Johnson, I'm taking Deontay.
100%.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Guyton on this one, only because of all the injuries that's going on with San Diego. So he's gonna have to be the guy there a little bit and forced to make some plays.
All right, Maverick Waterman says Rashi Rice or Hollywood Brown in a PPR, and we're running up against the clock, so I'm not going to give any explanation. But with Kyler back, I'm going Hollywood Brown.
Same here.
Time permitting, Komet rest of the season. We'll get to that one here at the end. Justin sent me a rival challenge, Thomas versus Parham, which I will accept. Lori feels supported, which she should. As far as the soup goes, he talks about premix, not condensed, so that's good. Dylan Finnick says, few start sit, full PPR questions. One flex, Hollywood over McBride. I do McBride in a full PPR.
Same. I'm going McBride over Hollywood.
Yeah.
Connor, Achan, or Waddle. I take Waddle here.
Yep, same here.
You agree, Pete?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm with you on that one.
One quarterback, one running back, flex. Stroud or Fields? Shout it out.
Stroud.
No.
Stroud. Okay. One flex. Connor, Ford, Singletary, Waddle. Waddle for me.
Same here, Waddle.
Waddle, yeah.
All right. Rich is too low on Kittle, or I would have sent that too. Well, that's a good point. Gabe Davis, Brandon Cooks, Madison, Ford, one running back, one flex, full PPR.
I'm going Gabe Davis and Ford.
Yeah.
Gabe Davis is tough against the Jets, so I was going to say Brandon Cooks and Ford, but it's 2 for Gabe Davis and 3 for Ford. My son says goodbye, see you in a moment. Start 2. Waddle, Rashi, Hollywood, Maverick, Waterman. Waddle and Hollywood for me.
Yeah.
Same.
Okay. Let's see. Pickett or Aiden O'Connell rest of season.
Whew.
That's an easy one for me. It's O'Connell. He's gonna have. They're gonna be behind in games and everything. He's gonna get better as the game's going on. Pickett has already shown me what he can, what he's doing, and what he can't do. So I'm going O'Connell.
And then Justin gave us the heads up that Guyton is out. So I'm going to try and find that question again. Bear with me because I'm trying to find. Do you guys remember what the so it was Dubs, Watson, Johnson. So if with Guyton out, Quentin Johnson. Over Osborne, Dubs, and Watson.
Yep.
Let's see. And then my son's like, bro, we're past our time. But hey, dude, we run long when questions run long. We help the title tribe. Najee or Pacheco, please and thank you again for time and effort. And don't forget to like and subscribe. That's the other point. We'll get there in a minute. But for me, it's going to be Najee. Pacheco's playing against the number 1 run defense. He doesn't necessarily receive the ball. And he has done it a couple times. But for me, this is Najee.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, Najee's been more involved. And
then because I've got a Bears guy here, we're going to go just a couple minutes longer. But Cole Kmet was booming with the teabag in there. But with Fields back, how do you feel about Cole Kmet rest of the season, Pete?
He's got to be their guy. He's going to be that safety blanket. Hopefully Fields has watched some tape on Bajan, and he's going to get better on getting that ball out faster and use Kmet in those situations. Kmet he's done some really good things with Bajan. He made Bajan look really, really good and made some great catches. So I would keep Kmet and just keep rolling with him.
All right, and that's from a Bears fan who knows the Bears real well. So I do want to say thank y'all, everybody who watches and listens, everybody who likes and subscribes. If you haven't liked and subscribed, go do that. That way you get, when we go live, you get an automatic update and you can come join us. I want to mention, because I probably won't be on a show before Sunday of next week, so happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. It's a great time to be thankful for everything we've got, and it's a good time to help people that don't have it. So if you can, go donate some money or some time and do something nice for somebody this season, pay it forward. Again, join rival.com/title tribe. You can get a $25 bonus for using the code title tribe when you sign up, and they'll match you up to $200 for your first deposit. So do that. Patreon.com/toilets titles. And like I said, we've got $1.50 on up. we're doing a cool giveaway. You have to go back and watch some old shows, but we're doing a cool giveaway for a $325 cooler. If you join us in our Gilded chat, you'll get all the information of how to try and win that cooler. But it's a very cool thing that Coach is doing. So thank you again for everybody who listened, everybody who watches and follows us here on Toilets Titles. Show wouldn't be the same without y'all. So thank you very much. Happy Thanksgiving, and good luck today.